Welcome to Creepin' It Real. This is Judah. Got to tell you, my viewing experience over the weekend was not fantastic. I watched 3 movies, hoping that one of them I would be able to present to you and say, hey, this is treasure you need to check out. But every one of them was just a drag. So I'm going to present to you the one out of the 3 that I felt I had the most to say about. And this is a Korean anime horror called Beauty Water. Let's check out this trailer. Oh, that was some fun music.
티가 전혀 안 난다면서요?
했는지 안 했는지 알 수가 없대. 알 수가.
너 왜 마스크 안 썼어? 아침에 네 얼굴 보면 불편하다고 했지?
Now, obviously, because my image down here is blocking the subtitles, you don't know what's going on. Essentially, what that started off with was that was an image of the title character. As a child, she was a ballerina, and now in her adulthood, I don't know what age she is. I think she's probably in her late 20s or early 30s, or maybe somewhere in her mid 20s. It doesn't matter. She is now overweight and kind of in this, what you would assume is kind of a dead-end job or a thankless job. She is a makeup artist, for quote-unquote famous people. How famous you are to be a model on a TV. What do they call those things where you watch TV and you order stuff? What are those channels called? Anyway, that's what she does. She does makeup for these people, these models that are on these TV channels that sell crap. So her life is not going the way that she wishes. Everybody treats her like crap, like she's garbage because of her weight, and essentially treating her like she's ugly.
눈이 예쁘시네요.
So then she runs into this guy. He's a new model, and he tells her that she has beautiful eyes. Okay, so she's feeling like, oh, this is the first time anybody has ever complimented me. Oh my gosh, it's given her a taste of what it feels like to be beautiful.
저 출연자가 펑크를 내서요. 편안하게 여기.
So right here, what happened is, I'm going to try to do this in a spoiler-free way until the very end, where I will give you a warning, where I will reveal a lot of craziness. But I want you, if you are interested, I want you to be able to watch this movie on your own and have the surprises. But I am going to talk about everything that is shown in this trailer. So if it's in this trailer, I'm kind of acting as if it's not a spoiler. So my apologies if you feel it's a spoiler. If it's in the trailer, I'm talking about it. Right here, what happened is one of the models that was supposed to be there to do this portion of the TV show did not show up. So they grabbed her and were like, we need you to sit in. And when we tell you, we need you to eat this food.
앉아서 드시기만 하면 됩니다.
So this starts somewhat of a spiral for her. She goes home after this day of work, and she's reading all these comments about this beautiful model that she does makeup for, and she hates her, and she's leaving nasty comments and everything, and she's angry that she's seeing people like her. And then she happens to see a tab that says most disgusting moment of the day. And the most disgusting moment of the day happened to be images of her eating. And you have all these comments, people like downing on her. So this really hits her emotionally. And she ends up locking herself in her room for, it sounds like a couple months, and not coming out. And all these reporters are coming to bother her and ask her about how, her being disgusting or whatever. Her parents are getting tired of it because she lives with her parents.
새로운 삶을 원하나요?
안녕하세요. 지금부터 기적의 상향소.
She gets a text message advertising this beauty cream. It's not a cream, it's more like a wash that promises to answer all of her problems. And not out of desperation, but simply out of a sure, whatever, I don't care kind of a thing. She signs up for it, and they actually send her some product in the mail.
사용법을 알려드리겠습니다. 지금의 얼굴과 작별을 구하세요. 우리 모델 해줄래? 세상 천지에 당신만큼
They send her the sample. She tries using it. She has a less than fantastic experience with it. It obviously works, but it doesn't work the way that she needs help. So then she ends up going to the place that sent it to her, which looks like it's in a shady part of town anyway, in this really jacked up hotel room, which not hotel, but like an apartment. The hallways and everything look like trash. But then when she goes into this house, there's this, attractive woman and everything is nice and fancy in there. And it's like, wait a minute. If you were making so much money off selling this beauty products, why are you living in this shitty apartment? It doesn't really make sense. Anyway, so she goes there to talk with this person.
홍보되는 사람이 어디 있겠어? 조금 있다 눈 뜨면 걔보다 훨씬 예쁜 사람은 바로 너야.
누구세요? 엄마!
If you didn't gather, that is now what the fat chick looks like. She now has the big anime eyes instead of the small anime eyes.
전 설혜 씨가 스스로 행복한 사람이 됐으면 좋겠어요.
She is still haunted, even though that she has shed this appearance. She's still haunted. My whole life, I lived at the weight of 175, and now I'm like at 210. So I have put on a ton of weight, and I'm not happy with myself. And it all stems from me trying to self-medicate through eating. And we all suffer things in our life that bring us down. And it's like, how are we going to address those things? The way I addressed it is by freaking eating and sleeping. That's how I address it. And watching horror movies. And I have paid the price for this. Okay? It's like that instant gratification. I want to escape my pain. So I tried to find the relief through eating. I want to cover it instead of addressing the issue. And I know it's more nuanced than that. And it feels like I'm glossing over it quite quickly. And I understand that. But I want you to know that I am not attacking you, but I am going to present a lot of my own personal feelings and observations in this. Not so much. This is probably going to be me making comments about society as a whole and not so much this movie. Because this movie I didn't really care for. But it presents a lot of things. And I think they tried to present it in a way like society is mean to fat and ugly people. And it is. It is. Hollywood wants you to feel like you are less of a person because of your appearance. And you are not. You are just as valuable. But we do also have to look at certain things that are realities. Even if you or me, in my case, I feel that I'm well overweight, I'm not going to live in a delusion that some 10 or 9 chick is going to look at me and be like, wow, that guy's, he's got it. I want what he had. No, I am not under that delusion. In this state, I'm like at a 4 or a 5. Okay. And I have no problems with saying that. We have to look at things in reality, but that doesn't mean that I am less valuable. It just means that I am physically not a 9 or a 10. And I'm not going to attract a 9 or a 10. I'm going to attract a 4 or a 5 because that's what I am. It's just how it works, okay? And if I want a 9 or a 10, then I'm going to have to put the work into myself to be able to attract that 9 or a 10. But it still does not let Hollywood off the hook that tells us that we're worthless because we aren't those things. Okay? I totally get that. But this film wants to, point fingers. And I could be wrong, but when I watched it, I was like, wait a minute, where's the responsibility of this person? The whole movie, most of the time when you see her in her fat form and even in her thin form, she has no regard. She is stuffing high-calorie junk food in her body constantly. And she's paying the price for that. So where is it that she has to take responsibility? That's where my problem is. I didn't feel like there was a balance. The movie may have wanted to show you, look, she's not taking responsibility. She wants the easy way out. That might have been their point, but it came across very much as it's Halloween. It's Hollywood. I don't even know what word I'm trying to say. It's Hollywood's fault. It's society's fault. We all have a part to play. And we need to be supportive to those who want to escape. And we also have to have understanding for people who potentially feel like they have no self-control or are trying to self-medicate. Have mercy on me that I've gained so much weight and now I got man boobs. Anyway, let's keep watching. Like I said, I'm probably going to go off more on society than this movie. My apologies to all.
너 내가 아니야! 마지막이야. 어차피 소속사 들어가면 관리해 주니까 이거 쓸 일도 없어.
Things just aren't good enough for her. She had this massive transformation. All it cost her was money. Now, I want to get into this also. She goes to meet this woman in this apartment complex. And the lady's like, yeah, sure. We'll give you more, but it's going to cost you 200 million won. Now, I looked it up, and that translates into close to 140,000 US dollars. That is not cheap. That's a lot of money. That literally would wipe out my savings right there. Okay? So she goes to her parents, and she's like, I need 200 million won. And they're like, how can we come up with that kind of money right now? And she goes into this bitchy, whiny bullshit where she's all like, you've ruined my life. You've never supported me. You don't want me to be happy. And right there, up until that point, I was like, okay, man, society is horrible to you. I'm sorry that you have to deal with it. I'm sorry that people treat you differently because of your weight. Now, if you want to talk about privilege, there is definitely an attractive privilege. People want to say you have this type of privilege. Well, obviously, white privilege. You have white privilege, or you have this kind of privilege. There is a privilege for being a pretty person. I'm sorry. So I was kind of on the side of this fat chick the whole time. And I was like, yeah, society sucks. But as soon as we got to this, and she was all like screaming at her parents, like how they never want her to be happy and they're not willing to do anything for her. I was like, okay, bitch. Okay. Sorry. This does not work for me. So her old parents scrounge up 200 million won to give to her so she can pay this chick and she can transform. She transforms into the hot chick, you know. And then she's all like, okay, now I need you. Now, parents, I need you to give me 30 million won so I can go buy new clothes. Because you want me to dress in this drab, old, fat people clothes? I'm hot now. I need to dress pretty. Oh, it pissed me off. The entitlement of this fucking bitch really pissed me off. Sorry, I don't really enjoy saying those words. But she turned into this entitled piece of crap where then it became everybody else's fault and everybody else needed to step up and do better for her. When was she going to step up and do better for herself? Let's get back to this trailer.
나 빨리 살 좀 줘.
이제부터 내가 행복해질 거야. 사람들한테 사랑받으면서. 그래서 너 사랑받고 있어?
So I thought while watching this that the horror aspect of this movie was going to be that she was being mentally affected by these chemicals that she was soaking in. So what happens is, according to the instructions, you soak your body in this stuff or your face or whatever for a certain amount of time, but you can't go over the limit because it becomes damaging to you and your skin will melt off. Okay. Your skin, for a certain amount of time, your skin will become pliable and you can mold it and shape it and so forth. You can even cut chunks of it out and like push the parts together and it'll like instantly heal. It's weird. It like turns you into clay, like clay face kind of. If anybody's seen the episode in dang it, what Batman the animated series, the original with Clayface, wow, the art style is so fantastic. The whole Clayface, it was one of the greatest episodes ever in Batman the animated series. It's too bad that we've never gotten a movie as awesome as Batman the animated series. Anyway, so soaking in this essentially turns you into Clayface. You can mold yourself into whatever fashion you want. You can remove fat without any consequence and reseal it together. Okay. So she gets this transformation. Then at some point, she starts to notice that she's gaining back a little bit of the weight. Why? Because she didn't learn anything. She went in there, had this massive surgery, I'm going to call surgery, with no recovery time, and she still eats the same way. So instead of being like, oh, crap, I need to watch this, I need to exercise, I need to stop eating this way, what does she do? She freaks out and she's like, I need to get more of this product so that I can get rid of this fat. So she makes another bathtub. She sets a timer. She sits in there. And of course, I mean, how convenient for the sake of the story. The timer is set. She has 4 minutes left. She falls asleep and the battery dies on her phone so the alarm doesn't go off. Okay. She stays in too long. She gets up. She stands out of the water. And her flesh is just falling off of her. You're seeing, you know, some of those shots in the trailer. You're seeing her flesh, her muscle, and her bone under there, okay? There are some frustrating things that happen in there. She falls in, and now her head is submerged, and her face is melting off. She's screaming. Her mom comes in to help her. This pissed me off so much. Instead of her mom actually freaking getting in there and helping her, she just freaks out and leaves her in there. Eventually she pulls herself together and pulls her daughter out, but she's just this like gross, hideous mess. It's disgusting. It's nasty. So then the dad comes in, he's like, what happened? And the mom's like, I don't know, she must have stayed in too long, what do we do? And he's like, well, let's call, the ambulance. And the mom's like, they made up some reason why they couldn't. It made sense based on of their, we can't do this because of this or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but they couldn't call it. And he's like, well, what do we do? And she's like, well, can't we put her back together? And the mom's like, well, I heard that all you need is more flesh. And he's like, where are we going to get more flesh? Okay, so I guess this is slight spoilers. Anyway, they take care of the situation. They get her back together, not to where she's a hot chick. They just get her back together to where her body can move and function. She wakes up and she is basically, not in a better situation than she was as a fat girl. She now is somewhat of a Frankensteinish looking female. And she makes her way back to that woman in that apartment that, is the distributor of this beauty product. And she's like, I need your help. This is how much money I have, which was not a lot. It was like $1,000 or something like that. And the chick's like, please, 200 million won. No, you got to pay. And she's begging her. She's like, I'll lick your foot. I'll do whatever it takes. And the chick's like, fine, let's get in here. Well, all she does is fix her face and her hands. And the woman is basically like, hey, I did what I could for the $1,000 you gave me. If you want the rest of your body done, you got to get me that 200 million won. And she's freaking out and everything. And then it goes back into this societal like thing again. And the distributor is all like, says some things like, you didn't take care of your body. This is your fault. Get away from me, you piece of trash. You're a dog and you're unattractive and all that kind of stuff. Then fat girl, Frankenstein chick, freaks out. We have a bit of a situation. Okay, she ends up getting her whole body back to being a hot girl. So I think this whole movie is basically going to be about the horrors of society and self-talk of how you think about yourself. I'm thinking that the horror is going to be this woman being mentally affected by this beauty product and her being tortured by images of her past and her body melting off and so forth. That's what I think the horror of this is going to be. I think that it's going to be a statement about society as a whole, and it is, but then it gets to the end and shit goes crazy. I mean, like at the very end, like the last 15 minutes, things go freaking out the window. And I'm like, okay, I did not see that coming. I'm not saying that it's a good movie. Now, there are a lot of people that love this movie. I saw a lot of great comments underneath it. I found this on YouTube, by the way, for free. And there's a lot of comments of people liking this movie. It's not a horrible movie. I wasn't into it. I didn't feel like the point of the movie was clear. And maybe that's why it's good. Maybe it's not clear. Maybe it's playing off of people's need to project. But for me, I didn't feel it was clear enough. Like, when do we take personal responsibility for the way we look? I am going to do a fast here at some point and hopefully shed some of these pounds. Now, am I going to keep it off? I don't know. Like I mentioned, my way of self-medicating is junk food. I love my sugars, but I'm looking at myself and I'm like, you know what? The fact that I have to wear a 34 pants, I don't like that. I used to be a 32. The fact that I have to wear an extra large shirt now instead of a medium, that doesn't really make me happy. So let's see where that goes. Now, just so you know, I am going to get into heavy spoilers. I'm going to talk about the insanity at the end. I'm going to show clips. I'm going to point out things that really piss me off about this movie. And I have said things that have frustrated me, but now I'm going to show you things that is going to spoil this movie. If this is a movie that you feel like you're interested in watching, you need to stop now, because I'm going to spoil the heck out of this thing. Go watch that movie. Then come back, leave your comments, tell me how I'm a jerk and that I have no compassion for people who are overweight. And I'll go, I'm sorry you feel that way. So here we go. Spoilers. I'm giving you a countdown. Countdown to 5. 1, 2. Are you still watching? 3, 4. This is your last chance. 5. Okay. So, after this girl falls asleep in the bathtub, she's falling apart. Her parents don't know what to do. This is where you learn that you can use other flesh, okay? So what do? They themselves get in the bathtub. They then remove their own flesh and apply it to her. Okay, so now her parents are these basic skin and bone in an attempt to save their daughter. Okay, so they basically gave her their life savings when she complained about it. Then she went and spent, even though she asked for like 30 million won to buy new clothes, they gave her the credit card and she spent 130 million won. Okay, so this girl is bankrupting her parents out of selfishness. Okay, but there's a lot of people out there who are going to be like, well, she deserves to be happy. Even as those words came out of my mouth, I wanted to say, fuck you and your happiness. Okay? Life isn't always about just you being happy. Okay? Sometimes it's about making other people happy. Sometimes it's about looking at the reality of things and not trying to make life difficult for other people. Sometimes you got to take a look at your life and say, what have I done to bring me to this point? Again, my apologies for being so preachy. Okay, there are so many aspects of my life. I'm not pointing just fingers at you. They're all pointing at me. So many aspects of my life where I need to buck up and I need to get to work and take care of that shit that's going on in my life. This family, this father and mother, when their daughter's life depended on it, they took their own flesh, put their own lives at risk to put her together. She never sees any of this. She is so self-absorbed. She can't be thankful for what they've done. Throughout the movie, you also see her having flashbacks to her as a child in this ballet. Apparently, she's in some kind of competition or something. She trips. Okay? This is why she doesn't win. She doesn't win because she trips. Okay? But in her mind, her self-negative talk is because she's unattractive. And had she been attractive, she would have come in first place. No, she lost because she tripped. That's how it is. And even though she tripped, the crowd still stood up and applauded her. Why? Because I think most of us as normal people know that when children are trying things, they're going to fail at sometimes. And you still have to get up and say, you know what? You gave it your all. And that is worth an applause. Now, I'm not talking participation awards. It's not what I'm talking about here. I'm still saying that there should be a first, second, and third, and people should be rewarded for their hard work and their excellence. But we do have to not treat people like crap. We do have to say, hey, you went at it, you tried, you may have failed, but you tried, dang it. And if you keep working at it, you're going to get there. So the reality is she made a mistake, didn't come in first place. People still applauded her for an attempt, okay? But her self-talk is all, oh, it's because I'm ugly. And if I wasn't ugly, if I wasn't judged by society, I would have come in first place. Also, her parents supported her. Her parents were like, hey, honey, look, you came in second, and that's a really good place, and you are beautiful. They talked to her. They were good parents, but her self-talk would not allow her to accept reality. Instead, what does she do? She blames her parents for all of her failures, for all of her hardships. She blames her parents. Why? Because there is a certain part of society that doesn't want to take any responsibility for their own actions. They want to blame everybody, and they want to be the victim. This is how I viewed this movie. Don't know how other people view it. So I was really pissed off at this chick. She ignored all of the things her parents did. And throughout the movie, it's all like, I just wanted to be loved. Girl, your parents loved you. They gave up everything. They were even willing to give their own flesh to heal you. They supported you as a child. Okay? So stop this bullshit. Anyway, after her skin melts off, she goes to that chick in the apartment and she's like, help me out. And she's like, no, you need all the money. And then things go bad. You know, the chick in the apartment says, you're a dog and you're unattractive. You didn't take care of your body. Then she freaks out. The fat chick freaks out and attacks her and kills her. After she kills her, she uses her flesh. She tosses her in a vat of this beauty stuff and uses her flesh to make herself whole. This is when a majority of the psychological things start to happen. She's dealing with the fact that she didn't work hard to lose the weight. She took the easy route out, and that's haunting her. And now she's haunted by the fact that she killed this woman, and she has these, mental specters coming after her. This all makes sense because this stuff really happens. Physical ailments come about because of mental anguish. And so she's suffering these effects. Now, here's where things get really crazy. That dude who told her she had beautiful eyes, now she runs into him again and she starts, slyly pursuing him, hoping to get him interested in her. She wants to become his boyfriend. He asks her to marry him. Essentially, those words never come out, but he gives her a ring and he says something like, be with me forever. If that's not a proposal, I don't know what it is. So she goes to his apartment. And which is really funny, he goes, sorry, I didn't have time to pick up, so things are a little dirty. And it shows up the apartment. I'm like, damn, if only my house looked like that when it wasn't picked up because it was immaculate. Some weird stuff starts going on. You hear some like muffled like whining and stuff. And the fat chick's like, wait, obviously at this point, you know, she's in Barbie mode. And she's like, what was that noise? And the dude's like, I don't know. I didn't really hear anything. And she starts like wandering around in his house as he's making dinner, and she's going into places that she shouldn't be. And she sees a box, and she just assumes in her self-absorption that this box was a gift for her and she had the right to open it. Oh my gosh, this bitch, I swear. Everything about the self-centeredness, all sympathy that I had at the very beginning of this movie is out the window. She is so absorbed. So she opens up this box, and lo and behold, she sees that it's got some of that beauty product in it. And she starts being like, oh, wait a minute. It's okay for you to use it, but it's not okay for this guy to use it? Heaven forbid that somebody else use this product and walk around under false pretense that they're beautiful. Anyway, so she starts freaking out about this. Again, why? I don't know. A side note, just as an example, let's say that there's product was available. How many of you actually have the confidence to dip your face in this stuff and then after the allotted time come out and mold your face into the proper attractiveness? I'm sorry, I don't trust myself. I am not a sculptor. I am a graphic artist, and I am relatively good. But I have never sculpted, and to think that then I could mold my face into the most attractive it could be, I do not trust myself. You would have to go to some kind of expert, in my opinion, to be able to mold your face and your body into the exquisite thing that you want it to be. I do not trust myself. It's like if you like tattoos and you don't want to pay the price, just because you get a tattoo gun doesn't mean you're going to get an awesome tattoo. You're going to have some little stick figure. So you got to go to a professional. That's just something I wanted to point out. Just getting this product isn't going to be good enough. You're going to have to go to somebody who actually knows how to mold your face properly. My opinion, just side note there. Anyway, so she's freaking out that this guy has some of this product in his house. Then she starts looking around more. She sees a photo, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's my family. My mom, my 2 sisters. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you had 2 sisters. And she's like, you know what? Your mother is so beautiful. And your older sister, she's so attractive. And then she gets to the younger sister, and she's like, oh, and that's your younger sister? Well, the younger sister wasn't stunning. She just was normal. And she kind of was like, oh, that's your normal sister? And the brother's like, oh, you think she's unattractive? And she's like, no, I didn't say that. And he's like, well, her personality is amazing. If you met her, you'd love her. Okay, let's move on. Then she starts kind of really feeling weird about the situation, and she wants to get out of the house. Why? Because this man uses this product. How dare he? How dare he use this product? He makes a dessert for her. He's like, eat this dessert. And she's like, I don't really want to. And she's like, can I use the bathroom? He's like, sure, it's over here. She goes to use the bathroom. She goes in the bathroom. Bathroom is disgusting. You see the empty bottles of this product. You see this bathtub with lots of, extra flesh laying on the ground and stuff. And she goes through the second door of the bathroom, which I'm assuming is like his bedroom. And you start seeing all these photos up on the walls. Then things really start unraveling. You start seeing pictures of all these beautiful women. You see pictures of his ugly younger sister, and it's like, wait a minute. Your brain starts clicking. Here's the twist. This dude actually is the younger sister in the photo. Things go batshit crazy. Not only did she turn herself into a man, she is now hunting all attractive women because she was never attractive herself, and they need to pay for being attractive. Makes sense to me. Now, to make a big reveal, he opens up his shirt. He's like, you want to see my collection? He opens up his shirt, and you have all these different body parts and faces of these attractive women that have gone missing. Then he shows another part, which is the face of the original model from that TV, shopping channel, shopping networks. That's what they're called. Gosh, can't believe it took me so long to think of it. So the original female model from that shopping network, her whole face is on his thigh, and he has tape over her mouth. Okay, so she can't. That was what was making the muffling noises earlier in the night. So he's finding these people, he's using this product, he's removing their flesh and adding it to his own as a collection. And now the fat chick is going to be part of his collection because he thought she had beautiful eyes and he wanted to take her eyes. Now this leads to another weird aspect of, does this product transfer consciousness? Does it? Because if it did, then this fat chick in Barbie form should have the consciousness of her mother and father in her, since they transferred their flesh to her. I'm just saying that this is how it should work. If suddenly the consciousness of this original shopping network model is now in his thigh and he has to keep the mouth taped shut so she doesn't talk, technically her parents' consciousness should be in her as well. And they just ignore that. They want you to gloss over that completely. Or he intentionally took her brain and fused it into him. And this is a special occasion. And if that's the fact, why would he do that? Why would he infuse this chick's brain into him so that she has self-awareness and self-consciousness as she's attached to his body? It literally makes no sense. I also wanted to point this out. Let me show this to you. So right back here, we got the fat chick. This is the moment before she's about to eat that food and become the grossest moment of the day. And here's the man, the she-man, and this is the original model that she is having issues with. She does a makeup for these two. So check this out.
한정! 오늘 단 하루 처음이자 마지막인 특별 구성으로 모십니다.
This will take a second.
뭐라고요, 피디님? 지금 주문 전화 폭주라고요?
Okay, here he goes. They take off their look at him.
난리입니다.
Look at those beautiful specimens. Which, by the way, I cannot stand 3D anime. So just right off the bat, I don't like the style of this movie, just so you know. I cannot stand 3D anime. There are only a couple that I am okay with. There's one called Doro Hidoro, which again, I don't like the design at all, but I liked the story. So I kind of just dealt with it. Also, Soul Eater is somewhat of a hybrid where it has a mixture of the 3D and the 2D. And I like Soul Eater a lot. I hate every time they bring in the 3D, but the rest of the anime I really appreciate. Now, so you just saw him with his shirt off and his legs fully exposed. Here we go. You're about to see some disturbing stuff, potentially some animated nudity. So just keep that in mind.
착하지? 그래서 말이야, 난 남자가 된 거야. 최고의 아름다움만 수집할 수 있는 매력적인 남자.
Here she goes. She's about to reveal her secret. Boom, look. If that's what he has been doing, where were all those when he took off his shirt? Now, I can imagine some of you would be like, oh, well, he just hadn't gotten to that point yet. No, sorry. That's not going to fly with me at all. He has obviously been doing this for a while, especially at the end where there's another reveal about who's working with him. At that point, you know this has been going on for a while. So these eyes, these nose, these lips that were all over his body should have been there from the beginning. And for me, you've heard me say this before, I don't care. Make up rules and laws for your movie, but stick with them throughout the whole movie. Don't make up bullshit just to get out of sticky situations. They should have never exposed his torso or his legs at the beginning. That's so false and so wrong, because it throws you off. Your mind is never going to this place. Why? Because they show you something that's not true, and then they show you what supposedly is. No, they should have never done that. And as far as the writing goes, they should have never exposed his chest and his legs at the beginning of this, because it makes no sense for the end. That is my biggest gripe with this, on top of the fact that this fat chick, transformed Barbie, has no self-awareness whatsoever. And she is so selfish. And she keeps saying, I just wanted to be loved. But she ignores the fact that her parents have sacrificed everything for her. For this 3-month period where she stops working, stops going to work. She just locks herself in her bedroom. They keep feeding her and they don't kick her out. Those parents loved her and took care of her. Now, so now that I'm off of my little tangent on society as a whole, what was my rating for this movie? I didn't have fun watching it. I wasn't even blown away at the end with that twisted reveal. I was definitely there was a certain point where I was like, oh, that dude's a chick. That dude is a chick. He used the product. Obviously not until they revealed that he was using the product did I think this. But as soon as that revealed the product, I was like, I bet you anything that guy is a chick. I did not think that he was collecting other women and putting their body parts on himself. That was a surprise. But I definitely had a hint that this dude used to be a female. But even with that reveal was not oh, this was mind blowing. You need to watch this. I was just kind of eh. And out of the 3 movies that I watched this weekend, this is the one I had the most to say about. And basically, it's more so about society and the message that this movie was trying to put forward. But I guess I would give it a 5 out of 10 if I was going to give anything. But let me read to you something that I thought was very on point. This was a comment that somebody left underneath. And really, I touched on this. It says, nah, you didn't want the love because you did. No, it says, nah, you didn't want the love because if you did, then you would have appreciated the love your parents had for you, the sacrifices they made for your happiness. That was real love. What you wanted was fake appreciation, love and people fawning over you. You wanted money, fame, and fake beauty. And this person right down here, the comment underneath it, reminds you of anyone on the net. I'm like, oh my gosh, if that is not an intense burn on every single one of us, it's just incredible. That's what it is. And we all fall victim to this, not appreciating. I myself, the words out of my mouth have been 2 family members who have said to me, we love you. And I blow it off and I go, yeah, but you're my family. You have to. I'm your child. Of course you love me. Well, they don't have to. There are a lot of horrible parents out there. There are horrible siblings out there. They don't have to love me. But I have no appreciation for it. I want other people to love me. I want other people to tell me I'm great. So this dude nailed it. They didn't want real love. They wanted accolades of fake people for being fake. You wanted money and fame and fake beauty. And I'm not immune to this. Exactly what this guy reminds you of anyone on the net. Every freaking single one of us. Ooh, if anything, if you can watch this movie and not see yourself as a victim, but maybe watch it and self-reflect, that's the only benefit I can see from watching this movie. But again, 5 out of 10. It's just an average movie, and it's not even a fantastic anime or the storyline, in my opinion. Now, if I have frustrated you by anything I've said, my apologies. It was not my intent to belittle or make you feel less than valuable, because you are very valuable. And I'm not just trying to tie this up and make it seem like I'm a good guy, because I'm not. I'm a piece of trash. but you are valuable, but we all need to take responsibility of our own actions. I have gained way more weight than I like. I need to do something about it. I can't blame anyone else. My dad died. I self-medicate. I feel like my life is trash. I self-medicated. 12 years working at a job where I was treated like shit. I self-medicated. I am paying the price, and if I want it to end, I have to make changes. If everything stays the same, everything's going to stay the same. I have to make the changes for there to be a change. I hope that I can be successful, and I hope the same for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you did feel frustrated by the things that I said, go ahead and leave a comment. It will be difficult to have any kind of a meaningful conversation through comments, but I'll do my best because I don't want you to feel belittled at all. I'm here in the struggle with you. I can't be a support group for you because of our distance, but you are not alone, and we're all facing this struggle. If you feel like you want to give this a thumbs down, I support you in that as well, but I would appreciate a comment as to why. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.